Hi guys, Ian here. Welcome to my channel and to another video. Firstly, let me wish you a happy Easter if you celebrate Easter, or if you don't, I hope your day is going to be happy, healthy, peaceful and blessed. And today I wanted to talk a bit about, I don't quite know what the title's going to be yet, but it's about deciding what it's safe to believe or what it's right to believe. Because as students of the mysteries, we find ourselves exposed to many philosophies, principles, teachings, theories, and how do we know whether to believe these things and integrate them into our spiritual persona, or whether to reject them, or whether to think, well, there's some truth in there. I can't swallow the whole thing, but there's part of it that I think is right. How do we do that, especially if we are, or we consider ourselves to be new on the path, and if we don't have a teacher or a mentor that we can bounce ideas off? Well, I thought about it and I thought, well, what works for me? So I thought I'd share what works for me with you to see whether it is going to be of any help. And unusually for me, I have made a few notes today because there are a few points that I want to cover. And what highlighted this to me was how I can believe absolutely in concepts like the principles of the Kabbalistic tree of life and the astral light, thought forms, God forms, elemental beings. I believe in that entirely, yet there are other things which some people would say are equally fantastic, which I don't subscribe to. For example, and I hope I'm not going to offend anybody in saying this, the theory that the aristocracy in the UK are actually reptilian. Well, okay, you might listen to that and you might laugh, but in terms of its fantasticness, is it any more fantastic than assuming that there is another realm where our thoughts actually produce templates upon which matter can be built, and you know what I mean? To the outsider, okay, they would say, well, they're equally fantastic. You believe one quite readily and quite easily and you reject the other. What is your process for doing that? And yeah, that's what I guess I want to share with you, my process for doing that, if it can be broken down into a process. So I'm going to look at my notes now. I think that the first thing to remember is that however new on the path of the mysteries you are not that new, because you might be young in age and you might be young in your in the duration of your journey on the path of the mysteries, but you are not young. You are an ageless immortal being, right? And truth is as natural to you as is the truth from which you came, from divinity, from the infinite, from source, from whatever you choose to use as your description of the infinite being. Okay, that's where you came from. That is all truth, because that is all source. So of your nature, your essential nature, you are truth, and you have a mechanism for knowing truth. What you don't have, or might not have right now, is the connection to your higher self, which gives you confidence that you know truth when you encounter it. This is my belief, okay? So that's the first thing, to know and to have confidence in yourself. Perhaps you don't have that right now, but you will grow into it. And the second thing is, when you encounter something of note, and you will know that it's of note because you'll feel it there. On the path of the mysteries, right, you'll read something, you'll see something, and you'll think, it'll register with you. It'll be of importance to you. Okay. So when deciding whether or not it is something to integrate, some of the things you might want to think of is, well, where is it coming from? What is its source? And how reputable is that? Now, that's not to say that truth only comes from established, reputable sources, but it helps in the process, I think, if you know where this is coming from and who is saying it. Is it something that someone has written? Who has written it? What do we know about that person? What do we know about their life? What do we know about their existence? Yeah. For example, if it's words attributed to the Buddha, then you might want to give it a bit more weight in terms of consideration than if it's someone that you have never heard of ever, or has no you know what I'm trying to say. I don't mean has no standing in the spiritual community. What I mean is not a heavyweight like the Buddha. It could be the words of Christ, Krishna. You know, look at who is saying it first of all, and then what is it that they're saying, and what is the underpinning truth to this? Because what I have found is, right, that the universe is harmonious. Yes, there's a degree of chaos about it, but only chaos because we don't see the bigger pattern. There is harmony about the truth of the universe, and you will find common threads in spiritual systems, world philosophies, world religions. Things might be said in different ways, okay? But if you look what the message is, rather than the way it's portrayed, it's the same thing. So is what you are exposed to now as new learning, does it run with other teachings, other similar teachings, or does it contradict it? And I would say if it contradicts it, then it needs more looking at and more thought. I'm not advising that anybody dismisses anything out of hand, but explore it. And in the writings of many well-known and trusted esoteric writers, they talk about spiritual science, of trying to apply a process to learning that a scientist might apply. Now, we can't be using test tubes and bottles and such like that, but we can apply logical thought, we can apply tests, we can apply, principles of right thinking and testing. So yeah, and so then, drifting a little bit, sorry. Does it make sense in terms of what you know already? Because what you'll find is, as you go along in your journey on the path of the mysteries, pieces of knowing, pieces of knowledge, pieces of experience will start to form kind of a bedrock within you on which everything else will sit. And there will be some things that you know, and you'll have an unshakable knowledge that they're right. Now, I think this is the faith that's talked about in the Christian religion. The strong belief in something that you absolutely know is right, yet you have not seen it. You have no physical proof, yet you just know it's right. And as you go along the path, okay, you will find that you get this foundation. Now this new thing, how does it sit with that foundation? Does it build on that? Does it sit comfortably on that? Or does it start to chip away at those things which you've known? Does it undermine those things? And that's not to say that you will never come to a point where you have to revise your thinking, because you might have to. But it's not often that you have to throw out the whole lot, the baby with the bathwater. You know what I'm saying? Learning in the path of the mysteries is cumulative. If you regularly have to go back and throw out everything that you've learned and experienced to make way for something new, then something is wrong. Then there is not a unity, there's not a flow about your development if you have to keep doing that all the time. Okay, so how does it sit? What effect does it have on you? Okay, so if you accept this piece of new learning, this truth, what effect does it have on you? Firstly, how does it make you feel? What kind of thoughts does it produce in you? Because remember, that which we think about, that which we hold in our mind, that which we dwell on, affects our personality and it affects our behaviour. It affects the vibrations that we put out into the world. So if this new piece of learning, if it enhances you, if it elevates you, if it enriches you, then there is probably something in it. If it debases, devalues, and causes you to think negative things and, causes a sense of disturbance in you and is not uplifting, then you might want to think about, well, is this right? Is there truth here? And another thing that you might do as well. Now, when I was in the church, I used to do this all the time, and I was at a weekend workshop last weekend, and the leader of the group was saying that as a student of the mysteries, she does the same thing. You can ask the universe for a sign. So you encounter a new truth, a new a new understanding of something that you've not seen before, a new insight, and you think to yourself, oh, I don't know, is this right? Is this actually right? Because when you get those flashes of inspiration, is this really true, my understanding? And ask the universe for a sign, whether it be 1 or 2 or 3. I'm pretty much down to 1 now. And you will find that if it is something that is right for you to believe and to hold on to a spiritual truth, something will happen that will confirm it to you. You think, and it can be something completely unexpected, but you will know that this is a sign of confirmation that what you were thinking is right. Now, you might not believe me, but try it, and I'm sure that you will find out that it actually does work. Okay, back to my list. Can't see now, it's so dark here. So as a result of all these things, what I have found is that as I progressed along my path, I've become more able to judge what is right and true and real in terms of the mystery teachings and spiritual development. And hopefully the same thing will happen for you, because I believe that for each person that suddenly gets a call to, to walk the path of the mysteries, that's not by accident. There's a purpose in that, and you are not left on your own. Now, whether you believe in the Ascended Masters, the Inner Plane Adepti, God, angels, and guides, you're not on your own. When you walk the path, you are accompanied. So those are the things really that have helped me, I think, get to a stage where I feel I have a better judgment about the things that I learn and am exposed to in my study of the mysteries, and what I integrate into my understanding and my practice, and those things that I don't. And sometimes I don't reject things instantly, but I will hold them. I'll park them for a bit. If I'm not sure, I'll park them and I'll wait. And it could be, for that sign which tells me should I or shouldn't I, or it could be that I just need to do a bit more study. And another thing, sorry, I should have said this to start, but in your path on the journeys of the mysteries, broaden your exposure. Don't limit yourself to one particular avenue of development. Which is why if you are part of a mystery school, the first year or sometimes 2 is just very broad exposure and study of all of these things, physics and, you know, and the history and mythology and all those things, because they all bring something to your understanding of the path of the mysteries. Anyway, I'm aware now that I am beginning to ramble, so I'm going to stop. Hope there was something in the video that you found useful, and as always, love to hear from you guys with your comments, and thanks for listening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.